Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Tales from the Fandom. It is the month of January, and we are into this month. I cannot believe it, and I have a guest to talk to today. I got to follow her starting back in like August of last year, and have enjoyed her content ever since, honestly. And I am joined with Aya. You might know her on Instagram as DisLifeofAya, like all one word. Yeah, Aya, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
It is absolutely my pleasure. I know that I had stumbled across your Instagram back in August of 2021 when you were doing some posts for World Princess Week, and it was you as Belle in a like a yellow and red kimono, but then edited into the picture with the animated beast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was actually originally a picture that I did for my Asian Disney Princesses project, and I re-edited it for World Princess Week to give it like a new, fresh coat of paint.
It's always something with once you have the content, figuring out how you can use the content to just maximize it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, your work is wonderful. If people are listening, and if you're listening at a computer, just type in Diz Life of Aya into Instagram, and you'll see wonderful pictures and wonderful work from Aya. And just scroll down and check out what she's doing. And so I know obviously based on your Instagram, there's definitely like a fandom that lords over everything.
hmm
Uh and it's even in your name, and that's Disney.
hmm
How did you first get into Disney? Like okay, so here's the thing whenever I ask that question, right? Like I'm old, and I remember like my parents having to pay for the Disney Channel way back in the day. But now like Disney's kind of like everywhere. So
hmm
what was your entry point to Disney? Was it like Disney movies as a kid, TV shows? Like where did you first get that Disney love?
Uh-huh. So I think it's a little surprising that I guess I really wasn't like a big Disney fan my whole life. It kind of started when I was born in Brazil. So I'm a Japanese descendant, but I was born in Brazil. Both of my parents are Japanese by blood, but my great grandparents actually came from Japan and moved to Brazil in at the start of the 20th century. And we've been in Brazil ever since. But then in 2006, my dad got transferred to the American office from his company. And so we decided to all come over to America. And Disney was kind of like my introduction, I guess, to American culture when I immigrated here. One of the first places that we went to after we moved was Disneyland. And that was like a grand like welcome into American life. Like seeing the castle for the first time, like that was my very first experience at the Disney parks, and it felt like a whole new world. Like it was something that I had never seen before. And uh when I was living in Brazil, like it was something like a dream. Like it's very hard to even travel outside of the country. And to even imagine going to a Disney park was something that I don't think I could have ever experienced before. So to be there in the castle was an incredible welcome into a new country and a new life. And into that, I came to America not knowing any English at all. Like
Oh
maybe
my goodness.
maybe a few words. Like I had an English class in my school, but it was not it was not advanced at all. Like I could barely make a sentence. So watching Disney movies in English was a way that I learned to speak the language while I was living here, and trying to figure out like my life as I was going into the second grade, just trying to learn how to do my homework in a language that I didn't know, in a country that I was brand new to me. So it
Oh
was
my
quite
gosh.
quite the journey.
That's absolutely like, I was like going along and it's like, wait a second. 2006, and honest to goodness, is this, in thinking back, it's not that far away, timeline wise. Like
Hmm.
it's not that long ago.
Yeah. It's crazy though. Like, I've been living now in America for a longer time than Brazil. But at home, we still speak in Portuguese. It's actually funny. We mix everything. So we mix Portuguese, English, Japanese. Like, we joke that it's a language that only my family understands. We've
Hmm.
developed our own language because we mix everything and nobody really understands us.
Now, out of personal curiosity, with your great grandparents, when
Hmm.
they went to Brazil, why Brazil? Just out of curiosity.
So it was like I guess like a countrywide campaign. There was a lot of Japanese immigrants that came over to Brazil to work in like the sugar plantations. I believe it was because it was right after the slaves were freed. So they were looking for more immigrant workers. So there was a lot of I don't know. I don't know if it's propaganda, but it was like advertisements, I guess, for Japanese people to come over to Brazil to work in the farms and get a better life. Um, so that's what my great grandparents tried to do for our family.
Hmm.
And it wasn't the best working conditions. It was really hard. And it's interesting because I feel like their experience, while totally different from what I experienced as an immigrant, is reflective in how we had to adapt to a whole new country and a new culture, language too. So I connected to my great grandparents in this journey that we've shared.
That's something that, like, I've not heard. Like, this is it. I know that we're here to talk Disney and fandom and stuff, but like, this is honestly, like, I don't think I had ever heard of that. The like, for South American and Latin American countries,
Hmm.
reaching out to like Japan or Asian countries for labor like that. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to do research now.
Yeah, I actually took a class in my undergrad about like Asian culture, and it was one of the first times I heard about that too, because I thought like it was an off like thing too about our family coming over to Brazil. Um, I did a little research as well, and I found out that Brazil is like the top how do I say it? Like the top population of Japanese immigrants outside of Japan. It's
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, I didn't know that. So it was really interesting. And my grandparents, everyone else, like in my family, other than me, my parents, and my brother, everyone else in my family is still living in Brazil. And so my grandparents, they work in, it's like a craft fair in my home city of São Paulo.
Okay.
And there's a neighborhood, it's kind of like a Japantown, and it's called Liberdade. And they work there in the craft fair making origami and kirigami, like paper goods.
Hmm.
And so it's a neighborhood that has a lot of Japanese influences and cultures. And so I grew up kind of there, and I never like really thought about why, it existed before like that class.
My mind is blown. And definitely, I've made a note for me to just do research on this because I find it very fascinating.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Now, when you were living in Brazil, were you able to watch like Disney media, or was it when you just came to the States you got bombarded with the Disney?
So when I was starting to learn English in Brazil, like in my classes, there was a cabinet that had a bunch of Disney VHSs that we could rent out in English so we could practice.
Hmm.
And so my mom and I, we took this class together. And so we would rent out those VHSs and try to practice. And, I think movies and music, they're a really great way to learn a language, especially if you're already familiar with the dubbing, I guess. So you can compare the lyrics and stuff to the new language and learn by that way. And as the song gets stuck in your head, you can practice the language that way too. And so that was one of the first experiences I had watching Disney. And then when I came to America, I started appreciating it more because of this experience that I had as like an introduction to American pop culture.
Hmm. Okay. Now, out of the realm of Disney, whether it's movies or TV shows or whatever else falls under that umbrella, what is the thing that you love the most? Like, do you have a favorite movie, or do you lean towards like the princesses or the non-princesses? Like, where do you lean inside of Disney?
Hmm. I've always really appreciated the artistry of animation and character design, painting, everything like that. So, like my grandparents that work in the craft fair in Brazil, they've always been really artsy, and I grew up watching them create like these handmade goods, um, and like just beautiful, intricate products with their hands. And I've always loved, I don't know how to phrase this. I've always loved having, mm, I've always loved like creating things and bringing something from my mind out into the real world. And so I've always been amazed at how animation is made up of all of these drawings and they can come to life and you feel like you can connect and reach out to these characters, but when they really are like still drawings.
Hmm.
Um, and as I've grown up, I've begun to appreciate it more and more, and all this hard work that comes from, back then, literally drawing every single frame to now more advanced techniques. But still, it's a really tedious process that I think is beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. It's always amazing to like see that work from the early days of like Disney and the artists and the creators of the different works, and seeing like the frame by frame like hand drawings that they would
Hmm.
have to like constantly go back and forth on, to now it's like you load it up in the computer and you're still like having to design the characters and stuff, but then you can like have it animated and you kind of like tell it what to do, and it does it now.
Right.
It's just fascinating, like
Hmm.
mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a favorite like movie or character that you love overall, or is it that you can't choose?
Oh, yeah, that's always a hard question. But my top like two princess movies is Beauty and the Beast and Tangled. I think especially with Rapunzel and Tangled, I just really connected with Rapunzel because when the movie came out, well, my dream has always been to be like a professional artist, but I kept like doubting myself and thinking that I wasn't ever going to be good enough, that I couldn't do this as a job. So when I saw Tangled, I think I just turned, yeah, 11. And I know like it's kind of sad that like imagining it now, like 11-year-old me, like being sad over possibly not getting her dream job. But watching Tangled was kind of like a wake up call for me, where I saw that it's important to believe in your dreams and chase after them, even if you don't know how it's going to turn out. And seeing Rapunzel like painting on her walls and making all these beautiful murals, it really made me inspired to try drawing and painting again, and just not worrying too much about how it's going to turn out, and being more free and open to more opportunities, and just see how it plays out.
Okay. I know that for me, as far as like Disney princesses go, like Belle and Rapunzel are definitely like some of the ones that I gravitate towards the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I always will go to bat for Tangles, because dang if that movie isn't really awesome, but then I feel like it just got overshadowed by Frozen.
Yeah.
And like Frozen dominated everything. It's like, but Tangled, like, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when Frozen came out too, I remember I was a freshman in high school, and like everyone was talking about it too. Like I think now we imagine Frozen and like little kids singing Let It Go and stuff, but even in high school everyone was obsessed with it too.
Yep. I remember having to get the CD for the kids after they watched the movie, and it's like, okay, we
Mm-hmm.
are with Frozen for the next at least year of music.
Yeah, I went to the theaters to watch it with my brother, and it was a really cool experience because it was already like winter, and here in Nevada, it was already snowing. And so it was a really cool experience watching Frozen with snow.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine, because we live in Orlando, so it's like
Hmm.
like
Yeah, totally opposite.
yeah, as we're recording this, we're like 10 days out from Christmas, and I already know that the weather for Christmas is going to be like 80 degrees.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's going to be another sunny and hot Christmas here.
Yeah, I think I checked this morning and I think it was 20 degrees here, so really different.
I'm just a little bit jealous, just a little bit.
Yeah, it's really pretty, but it's hard to drive in.
I know that when you submitted your like the information about like the things that you're into,
Hmm.
one of the things that you had mentioned was like a bachelor's honor thesis that you did. Was it
Hmm.
about Disney princesses?
Yeah, I just actually finished this year in May. So for my bachelor's research honors thesis, I wanted to pick a topic that I would obviously be very interested in and could write a lot about. And what better topic than Disney and the Disney princesses? So I explored the Disney princess brand because it's actually not that old, like the brand and the group itself, instead of like the characters. The brand has only been around since the 2000s, so it's a pretty recent like phenomenon still.
Mm-hmm.
But it has grown into a giant empire and one of the most like profitable character franchises in the world. And so it's a really great area to explore the impacts and influences of media, especially for children. And so I explored and researched about how the brand was developed and how it evolved over the years. Because from 2000 to now, it's like a completely different brand. And they've recharacterized the princesses to now be more heroines instead of like the stereotype of what a princess should be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I was looking through old like products, books, and DVDs of from the Princess brand that they developed like exclusively for the franchise. And those early works were some of them were pretty disturbing, you know. um, like I think what people used to say like that were harmful about the Disney princesses, like them not being good role models and focusing too much on romance and things like that, I attribute it more to those early marketing products that they used. So one of the songs that I found as like evidence of that was a song that they made just for the brand, and it was saying that in order to be a princess, you know, you need to have like a big ball gown, tiaras, and all the jewels. And the one thing that you really need is to find a prince.
Yep.
Uh-huh. And even in Disney's like annual reports, when they made the franchise, they said that their target audience was little girls ages 2 to 8, I think it was. And so I just saw like these connections that they made of targeting little girls and focusing a lot on heterosexual romance. And that's what a lot of like moms had a problem with back in the day. And so even like celebrities like Keira Knightley, she was very public in saying that she banned Disney princess films from her daughters, saying that she cited like Cinderella exclusively, saying that you shouldn't wait for a prince to save you. And that has gotten a lot of like discussion over, you know, how the princesses are marketed versus how they really were in the movie. Because especially like with Cinderella, I think she gets really misrepresented a lot of the time. A lot of people say that Cinderella and like the rest of the classic princesses like Aurora and Snow White, they say that they're very shallow. They are the title of the movie, but they rarely talk, and things like that, and focusing on how they were rescued by Prince Charming.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Cinderella especially gets a bad rep because she like wasn't really doing that in her movie. Like she went to the ball to have a good time. She didn't even know she was dancing with the prince. And so a lot of people just remember her like losing her shoe and getting her prince because of that shoe, instead of how kind she was to like the people that needed her, the mice, keeping her hopes up, you know. They never really remember that part. So I try to see how the brand also forgot that part, and how they took all of these characters that had pretty complex like personalities and reduced them to just the title of princess, even if Cinderella wasn't even like a princess for most of the movie until the very end.
Yeah, it's definitely, I remember because I was working at Blockbuster Video at the time when they started releasing like those Disney princess DVDs where it's like straight to video.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is some of it was really like strange or weird, and it's like it doesn't really fit the vibe that you get from the movie or the character that you've kind of like known, but now it's like, oh, okay, this is different.
Yeah, they definitely leaned into like the girly girl trope and the fantasy of a princess instead of what these characters really like taught the audience. So like going back to Cinderella too, I found a children's book that was called All That Glitters. That was a storybook collection, but focused on stories that had something to do with jewelry. And in like the summary on the back of the book, they say like, oh, Cinderella lost her ring because it fell off her dainty finger. So help us look for the ring with her. It's like, that is so like shallow. And what does that have to do with Cinderella? And she's worked as a maid. She worked like the whole movie, working hard and taking care of the house and taking care of her friends and things like that. And now that she's supposedly a princess, she can't even take care of something that like falls right off her fingers. Like it seems so one-dimensional, and it's really disappointing, how they took this character that went on this whole journey for the whole movie, and now she's reduced to like, I don't know, the stereotypical princess. And like those DVDs that came out too for the franchise, I actually had one from Brazil that I brought back to America. And it was one of the Disney Princess like party DVDs. It was like a collection of clips and games and music and things like that you would like the parents would put on the TV for a birthday party and like the kids can play and interact with.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the games was a dress up game where you would kind of like put your costume on like in real life, but then like when you click through the DVD, the magic mirror would give out a compliment. It's like the whole magical thing, right? And a lot of the compliments were based on saying like, oh, like Aladdin would be so pleased to see you. You really are the fairest one of the ball, and things like that. Like, and again, like it was geared to kids, little girls, especially ages 2 to 8. So it's kind of disturbing that they would focus so much on outer beauty instead and pleasing the prince instead of focusing on like the characteristics of the princesses as heroines, especially with characters like Mulan. The franchise also made her into like the stereotypical princess, which is totally against like her whole character. She's seen a lot in like the matchmaker dress,
Mm-hmm.
and like and in makeup, and she directly like takes it off in reflection, showing that this is not who she is. So why is she being shown in the matchmaker dress and in all of this jewelry if this is not who she sees herself as? But I guess to fit in with the previous princesses, they wanted to market her in pink and in the matchmaker dress and make her fit into the princess look.
Right.
And again, directly going against everything that she stood for. So it was really confusing and weird.
It's definitely something where, and I've had conversations before with people about like, well, where's some of these other princesses that aren't there? Like they're not in the group that's in like the main Disney princess marketing. And it's like you're forgetting some princesses that are out there, but okay.
Yeah, they had when they made the group, I believe they had like Tinkerbell and Alice. But they they got kicked out because they didn't really fit the princess look, and they aren't even princesses.
Right.
So there are like unofficial rules to who a Disney princess can be. So like they have to be human. They made an exception for Ariel, even though she's half fish, so that she could fit in. They have to be like the main heroine, and like the heroine of the first movie. So for example, Melody, Ariel's daughter, is not a Disney princess, even though she is a princess in her movie, but she was made in the sequel. They also have to be like box office successes. So Kida from Atlantis, The Last Empire, she wasn't qualified because the movie didn't do so good.
And that is a disservice right there.
Yeah.
Because Kida rocks.
Yeah. And on the other hand, Anna and Elsa were originally going to be Disney princesses, but the box office was too good. So Disney was worried that they were going to overshadow the other princesses. So they separated them into their own Frozen franchise. And now they're being marketed more as like queens because Anna is now a queen as well. And they kind of serve as like mentor figures, I guess, for the other princesses.
Yeah, I can see that because I could imagine them putting like the Anna and Elsa in there. It's like nope, it is too much. They're a dominant force.
Yeah, like I imagine like they had like a box set of like dolls. They would just get overshadowed and they would only play with Anna and Elsa.
Yep, it got that big old box set of like what I think because I think I bought the box set at one point for my daughter, and it was like the like 7 or 8 Disney princesses, but of
Hmm.
course it wasn't like there was no Anna or Elsa in there because it was like the general lineup of them. It's like, yeah, I could see where it's like, okay, you're shunted off. Nope, you don't get to, you don't get played with.
Yeah, it's only like been recently where Disney has started to kind of push them together with the princesses a little bit more since Frozen Fever has died down a little bit. So, like with Ralph Breaks the Internet, for example, they were included in the princess room because a lot of people think that they are official princesses, anyways. Uh, so they were included in the movie there, and like so they wouldn't feel like they forgot them too.
I can see that, and yeah, I love that whole like princess thing. In Ralph Breaks the Internet is one of my favorite things of that movie.
Hmm.
It's like, yay, you get to see them just casual wear, like just chilling and
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah, I think so like going back to the marketing too. So in 2016 is when Disney hired an independent marketing company called Terry and Sandy to rebrand the franchise because they were again having a lot of trouble connecting with mothers and their daughters and making moms trust the brand as good role models. Um, and so in 2016, Terry and Sandy took over and started giving the princesses more heroine qualities. So they would market them as um so they would market them more as heroines of their own story and as adventure fairy tales instead of romance as they had done before. Um, and so Terry and Sandy made a really popular commercial titled Dream Big Princess, where they showed clips from the princess movies compiled with real life girls doing amazing things. So, like, there was a clip of Merida shooting an arrow next to a girl doing archery in a competition in real life. And it was a really great move showing that the princesses were leaders instead of damsels in distress as they were usually seen.
Hmm.
And it was really successful in making moms see that too. Like all their worries about their daughters waiting for a prince as well. Like Keira Knightley also said, this commercial helped to show the new marketing message that these princesses could be more like inspirations for little girls and boys as well, in showing them that dreaming big and their goals are possible. So, like the tagline was, "For every girl that for every girl, I think it was for every girl that dreams big, there's a princess to show her it's possible." And so it was really a powerful move, and it was really great in showing, like, steering the message more in a positive light and showing how like you can be hyper feminine and like these girly things, but it can also be really powerful and you can be a great leader in your community as well.
Now, before we move on for Disney for now, I did have one question that I wanted to ask, which is, what keeps you coming back to Disney? Whether it's the Disney media, Disneyland, I know that you do Disneybounding, which we'll circle back to at the end of the episode. But what keeps you coming back to Disney?
I guess it's coming back to the artistry of it all. And I just see Disney as a very creative outlet. So whether I do art, like in my art page, or I'm bounding, or even I sing sometimes, I just see a lot of creative ways that I can interact with these characters that I love. Um, and Disney characters and their movies, a lot of the time they've come to me at like the very good time. So giving an example, like for Big Hero 6, when that movie came out, my grandma had recently passed away. And so seeing a movie that was all about grief and dealing with the loss of a loved one, it was the perfect time for it to come out, because it was really like the first time that I had experienced death in a very close manner. I hadn't really had a family member pass away before, and so it was my first experience. So having Big Hero 6 there, as silly as it sounded, I could imagine like Baymax and feeling his hugs, and it was really comforting. And imagining like Hiro and us, like me and Hiro, dealing with grief at the same time was really powerful.
That's and it's always, I mean, there's always something, but that right there is just, it's just so powerful. It's something where it's like that will always be a connection between your real life and the stuff that you love about Disney.
Yeah. And especially too with especially with Big Hero 6 being also about Japanese Americans, I could also relate in that way as well. And at the end of at the start of 2015, I went to Walt Disney World for the first time, and I went with a childhood friend from Brazil. A lot of people say that we look and act like sisters, but we met because of our dads. They worked together, and ever since then we've been very close. And it's funny because we kind of share a similarity with immigration as well, because while I went to America, at the same time she moved to Australia. So we have like that international connection as well. And in 2015, when we went to Walt Disney World, it was the first time that like we had seen each other since moving to our respective countries. So it was a really great way to meet up. And it was still like, I was still dealing with that grief from my grandma. And it was really great to have my friend there with me as well. And we watched Big Hero 6 together. We both fell in love with Baymax. And then when we went to Disney World, we got like a bunch of Baymax plushies. I got to hug Baymax in real life and meet him. Oh, that Baymax hug was so good. He's so soft.
Well, beyond Disney, and we'll be getting back to Disney for those that want more. There'll be more, I promise. But one of the things that you had wanted to also talk about was Japanese culture. Now, I know you grew up in Brazil. You're fourth generation Japanese, though, from Japan, and now you're here in the States. But what is it that you want to share or talk about here today about Japanese culture?
So I've always been very interested in Japanese culture. I think it has a beautiful history and has a lot of like artsy things that I'm also interested in. And it's also a way that I connect to like my family and my own history and ancestry. Yes, I am fourth generation Japanese descendant. So that means going back. So my great grandparents came from Japan and moved to Brazil. And ever since then, my family has been in Brazil until my family moved to America. So Japanese culture has always been in my life. And my like grandparents and my parents have always tried to keep it in my life so that I don't like stray away from it and forget where it came from. So ever since like I was born, we've kept like little bits of Japanese language as well in our household. So I took a Japanese class in college, so I've been starting to learn, but I've never like been super fluent in Japanese because like we don't speak it that often. But in my house, like we we would say like some words in Japanese, like fruits and vegetables, for example, we always say in Japanese for some reason. So if we always mix it up, so like in a single sentence, I would say like some things in Portuguese, some things in Japanese, and if I forget something, I'll use English. So it is a very tricky situation. But and then in college, I wanted to keep learning Japanese so I can make proper sentences.
Right.
And so it was really interesting, but really difficult as well because I've already had to learn English. I took French as well in high school. I studied Korean for a little bit in high school as well. And so I think all of these languages were all just jumbled in my head. And so it was very difficult to add another one. And especially with Japanese being a pretty complicated language, grammar-wise, and also like writing-wise as well, with kanji and all the alphabets. It's very challenging to learn. So I was even a little embarrassed to be in that class because I was one of the only Japanese like natives in the class. And so I felt like the professors were like secretly judging me for not knowing supposedly my own language. But I was very excited to learn. And it was very fun. And I've also really loved going back also to high school because I was very interested in Japanese fashion and anime and all this pop culture stuff. And there wasn't like a big Asian community in my high school, a big Asian population, I would say. I started my own Asian culture club in high school because I wanted to share like what I loved with other people and try to get more representation and awareness for the culture. So I founded the club to it was kind of like a class that I had every week. I would make little PowerPoints and share like little aspects of Asian culture, from like food to music and things like that. And my friends were really big and were really into K-pop. So I would put in some K-pop to make them interested, and we would talk about like the bands and things like that. So it was really fun, and it was a great way to have more Asian representation in our school because it was mainly like just my friend group that was Asian. Everyone else, like we didn't really have like a little community, so it was great to have that club.
Right. Okay. What is one thing that like if people are listening now, what's like one thing that you would say to either like that maybe most people wouldn't know, or something that would be like, oh, I didn't know that about like Japanese culture?
I think a lot of people, like going back to my own like Disneybounding stuff too, a lot of people are maybe familiar with kimono, like the Japanese traditional clothing, but there's a lot to it that goes into wearing it, and like putting it on is pretty complicated too, and like the whole history. And there's a lot of like different types of traditional wear. So for my Asian Disney Princesses project, I used a lot of what's called yukata, which is like a cotton kimono that's mainly used for summer and is like a lot more accessible than kimono, because kimono is more like for ceremonial wear. It's really fancy, and like the fabric is really beautiful and intricate and delicate. So it's kind of hard to get a hold of.
Hmm.
So for my series, I actually reached out to the Japanese club at my university because I knew they had yukata from the summer festivals that we have every year on campus. And so I asked them if I could borrow some for this little personal art project that I was doing. And they agreed, and they let me borrow some of their garments. And so I put together like a bunch of Disney bounds inspired by the Disney princesses using these traditional garments. So it was another, yeah, again, like a really great creative outlet for me to express my love for both Japanese culture and the Disney princesses. And I love how traditional wear uses so many like bold colors, patterns, textures. It's like kimono is based on layering. So like the base robe, the obi like sash on the waist, and then you can accessorize, add other like little details. So all of that, it's a great creative medium. I think it's like fashion in general as well is a great art platform. And so this was just another way for me to show that creativity and also to show that a princess can look like any one of us. So it doesn't have to be like the stereotypical princess look, and doesn't have to be like a specific culture or race. Princesses can come from all kinds of sizes, colors, backgrounds, and things like that.
Absolutely. And it's always something. It amazes me how, like with kimono, that people don't understand like the layer. Like they see that, like obviously they see the outer layer, but they don't see everything that goes into it, and the work that goes into like having someone like put it on or wear it is like
Yes.
it's mind boggling. Like I mean, not mind boggling, but it's definitely something where I think it's lost on a lot of people seeing it, where it's like you don't know how involved it is to get into one.
hmm Like if you see like a video of like a bride in Japanese culture putting on a wedding kimono, oh my goodness, there's so many layers, and it's all like white, but it's so much it's so complex to even put it on, and there's so many steps, and there's right ways to fold things, there's right ways to tie things,
Hmm.
and so it's a skill to learn. And so when I was doing my series, I did most of it by myself. And so it was a really complicated process of learning how to put on a kimono or a yukata by myself, and tying the obi like bow, the waist bow, by myself
Hmm.
as well, because it comes out as like it's like a giant ribbon. It's like a giant rectangle. And there are like cheater ones where you can just clip on a bow on the back. But like the traditional ones is just a giant sash. And so I had to learn how to tie the bow by myself. And so it's a very, very complicated process. And by the end of it, I would be like my arms would hurt and I would be kind of sweaty. So it's an exercise, but the end result was really nice. And I worked with one of my photographer friends from high school. She helped me with some of the photos. And then my other friend, Jade, she helped me with other photos. And we did some even at like a park by my university as well. So we got really creative in finding backgrounds for like fairy tale settings.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's always like the I always like it just amazes me. But the work that you like the if people are, again, go to the Instagram to take a look at the pictures, because you have wonderful pictures that you've been able to create and do like those Disney bounds with the yukata and the kimonos.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, and a lot of the pictures I also got to put in some of my own like pixie dust, as I love to do like digital art and Photoshop edits. So for some of the pictures in the project, I edited the background so it looks like I'm right in the movie. So that was fun to work with. and to celebrate like the anniversary of the project. And I was also going to Disneyland for the first time in 13 years, back in January of 2020. I know, like right before lockdown, I went to
Yep, yep.
Disneyland. So it was a great like moment. So to celebrate that trip, I actually made like a book, like an album of all of these photos that I made for the project. And I would take it to like the princesses that I would meet at Disneyland and show it to them and see if they could sign it. And it was a great way to interact with these characters. A lot of them I met for the first time on this trip. For example, Ariel and Tiana and Flynn Rider, I saw them all for the first time on this trip, and I showed them my book and my pictures of this project, and they all really loved it, and they thought like it was really creative. And oh my goodness, Ariel had the best reaction. She was so excited, and like in typical Ariel fashion, she was really curious about what this was and the garments that I was wearing. So she was asking, what is this? And how do you pronounce it? And I said like, oh, it's a yukata. And she was trying to learn from my culture as well. And so it was a really, really special moment and really cute and a memory that I will always remember. And Ariel like made sure to ask me my name and also to ask how to pronounce it correctly. She took me over to see Tiana. It was really magical.
Oh, that's a wonderful experience, especially
Mhm.
getting to share that and get them to sign and everything else. That's really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I need to go back someday to get the rest of the signatures.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, like the way that I had stumbled across you on Instagram is that somebody had shared your work
Mhm.
and led me to your account and hitting the follow button and getting to check out all your work. How did you get into like doing Disney bounding or cosplaying? How what was the initial like draw for you? Like how and why and what and everything?
It goes back to that Walt Disney World trip that I had with my childhood friend. So we were 16 at the time. And so we were over the age limit to wear costumes, but we still wanted to make it special and take some cute photos and things like that. And so I suggested to her, like, oh, maybe we can, I don't know, make something that looks like the characters so we can still dress up, but not really. And she said, oh, you mean Disney bounding? It's like, oh, there's a term for it. And that's when, yeah, I discovered Disney bounding through like the official Disney bounding term through her. But I had, even when I was in like elementary school, I would see posts on Tumblr about like Disney inspired outfits or from other characters, like Adventure Time from Cartoon Network was a show that I really loved as well. And I would see these like mood boards and collages of outfits inspired by different characters. And I had always loved that. I thought that was so cool. And it was like kind of casual cosplay. And then I found out there was a whole community behind it and like an actual term for it. And it was just really exciting to find like another hobby and a community that was like, again, like casual cosplay and using clothes that you had from your wardrobe to create these looks that you feel like you're dressed up, and maybe other people just think it's a regular outfit, but then you find another fan in the streets that recognizes the character based on like the colors and things. And so you had that immediate connection. So it's just a lot of fun, and I'm glad like I found out about it.
It always amazes me whenever I see people doing like Disney bounds, where I swear, I think about the clothes that I have in my closet or in my dresser. I'm like, yeah, I have nothing, like nothing. There'd be nothing like that. But people that do like Disney bounding, you're able to just be like, oh look, there's this and this and this, and it makes the character.
Hmm. Yeah, it's sometimes a challenge, you're right, because like in my closet, I barely have any greens, yellows, or oranges. So sometimes I have to get creative or find another way to put in the character. But I think the challenge is what makes it fun too. Trying to find what makes you like, what colors makes you think of a character, or how you can convey like the story or like the journey a character takes through just an outfit, I think is really fascinating as well. And finding new ways to like use your clothes is really cool too.
Do you have like a favorite character that you've done where you're like, you know what, this was amazing. I pulled this off. This was the best one I've ever done.
I think the character that I bounded as most is Rapunzel. I have this blouse that I got. It's like pink and has flowy bell sleeves. It's like, oh, that's Rapunzel. And I layered it with a floral dress. And that is my go-to look for Rapunzel. And it's just really like happy and floral, and I think it captures Rapunzel very well. And so I don't even know how many times I've used that bound for Rapunzel. Like even for my birthday this year, I had like I did a collage with some of my friends where we recreated one of the princess like illustrations that Disney did, and I wore that one, and I put on my Rapunzel tiara, and I edited my hair to be a bit longer. And yeah, it was just really fun. And it's just like finding, like seeing a piece of clothing and saying, oh, it's that character. I think when it hits you, it's just like when your creativity just flows right out, and you can find like all these other accessories that go with it. And by the end of it, you have like this whole look that like makes you feel like that character and connect with them even more.
Now with the stuff that you do with the Disney bounds that you post on your Instagram, are I assume just out of just from looking at the pictures that you're doing like self photography?
Yeah, I do. I would say like 90% of my photos are by myself, edited by myself, everything like that. I do, yes, have some help sometimes when I fortunately can ask for help from my friends who always want to join in and help me out very kindly. But yes, most of the time I am working by myself, and usually I just use like my iPhone, but my parents got me my first DSLR camera, so that's been very helpful to also set up with a tripod and a remote so that I don't have to balance my phone on like the random objects that I used to work with. Yeah. And a lot of the time when I take photos for intentional like edits, I just do like in my room, in my bedroom. So I prop up my phone on my bed and use like my closet door, since it's white, to use as a clear background for my photos. So then I would take it to Adobe Photoshop and change the background, add special effects and things like that. And also with like photo editing, I'm mainly self-taught as well. I started like just messing around with Photoshop when I was maybe in the 4th grade, just like having fun and trying to do some digital art as well. And then in high school, I took some like beginner classes for computer editing and things like that. And now in undergrad and master, now in undergrad and my grad degree, we in journalism, we start looking more into like the technical side of things, but I am mostly self-taught, and using Disneybounding and my editing work for social media is how I practice these skills and learn new techniques to add on to projects and stuff. So it's always like developing through my big projects. Um, Especially for like the March Disneybound challenge, I try to go all out because everyone goes all out, and it's a fun time to just explore new techniques and new outfits and things like that. So for like this year's March Disneybound challenge at the beginning of the year, I created a lot of edits and videos that had a lot of more technical effects. So for example, I had like a Leia bound from Star Wars that I recorded a video of, and then I added like a bunch of hologram effects to look like when she gives the message to Luke and Obi-Wan. So that just made it even more like immersive and special. And when I got the effect to work, because again, I was trying to do this and learn this all by myself, it's just the best feeling when you see an effect work out just like you want it. So it was really special to see that Leia hologram come out of R2D2 and it be me.
That's really awesome. And I love, you talk about doing everything you're mostly yourself. Your work is wonderful to go through and scroll through on your Instagram to check out.
Oh, thank
and
you.
and I really do love like the way that you edit yourself into like the different backgrounds or have some of like the animated characters like next to you. It's just really fun to look at and just like admire the work that you've put into it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, out of curiosity, as far as like characters, is there a character that you haven't done yet that's on your list that you're like, you know what, I would love to do this character?
At the top of my head, I can't really think of any. It's hard to, I've done this for, it was our 5th anniversary this year. So I've done quite a lot of bounds and edits. So it's hard to think of one that I haven't done.
Okay.
But I guess like some of the princesses I haven't done are like Merida and Aurora I haven't done a lot of. So some of those I guess I could try to do some new ones.
Okay. Now you also mentioned, and I know by courtesy of having links in front of me and stuff, that you do digital art as well. You have a whole nother like Instagram called Aya's Arts. And you do drawings and you do stickers and prints and all sorts of stuff. And I know I fell in love with your Animal Crossing Disney-fied characters. And if you haven't seen those, the link will be in there so that way you can click on it and check them out. But like they are so they're so cute, and I want more. I want more, Aya.
Yeah, I definitely want to like try to make more like now in winter break from school now that I have time. Yeah, but they were really fun to make. I love Animal Crossing as well. It was my first like video game that I got for the DS. When it was the first Christmas that my family moved to America too, which we spent at Disneyland. So it was so special. And opening that gift, it was Animal Crossing, and so I have that special connection with Animal Crossing as well. And so to merge, I love like crossovers. So to merge my two loves of Animal Crossing and Disney together, I decided to imagine different characters as villagers. So I made like Russell from Up as, I merged Russell and Doug together as a golden retriever. I made Tiana as a frog, of course, and I made Hercules as a goat.
Yep.
So it was really fun, and I enjoy making drawings like in that Japanese kawaii style, like very cutesy, very round. And so it was fun to draw and make them as cute as possible and imagining what they would look like if they had a collab together with Disney and Animal Crossing.
And I mean, not only do you have like that Disney Animal Crossing going on, but you got like Studio Ghibli style drawings that you've done. it's just you have such a different and unique look that you pull off like all across the board with just different styles. And I love like you did a Doctor Strange Tim Burton style. Like
Mhm.
it's so cool.
Thank you. I am like a nerd of many things. So when I can mash styles and fandoms together, I think it's extra fun. And so for the Tim Burton style, for example, I've been like a Tim Burton fan for a long time. And when I was younger, I would try to study his sketches and artworks and concept arts to try to try to get inspired by them, but also learn from his techniques to add to my own skill set. So when I was younger, I would look at his sketches and try to imitate his style. And that was really fun. I made like for one of my friends who used to be my neighbor here, it was her birthday, and I made her a sketch of Zero from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And she asked me, like, did you print this out? It's like, no, like I drew it by myself, but I tried to copy like Tim Burton's style, and she really liked it. And so I kept making these drawings and of like more obscure characters like Oyster Boy from his storybook. And I took those skill sets and applied them to my own. And then pretty recently, someone had asked me for a commission. They asked me if I could draw her and her fiance, I believe it was, in a Tim Burton style because they were both big fans. And I said, like, wow, like I actually did that when I was a child. And yeah, it was fun to come back to that and make this special portrait for them. And I shared it on social media, and a lot of people liked how I drew in that style. And so I opened up a commission listing on my Etsy shop for other portraits that people could commission me for in that Burton style. And especially with Tim Burton style, it's very like freeing, I think, because they're sketches, but they're very like wobbly. And like the point of it is not to be so perfect. And for like my personal style, I always tend to hyperfixate on the details and making sure everything's absolutely perfect. And so when I draw these Burton portraits, I can be a lot more free
Right.
and interpret like people's faces and personalities in this fun, darker style.
Okay. And you know, if people are listening and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, listen, the link is going to be there. Click on it and take a look, because you'll understand. You'll understand when you go and check out Aya's Instagram,
Yeah.
especially her art one.
Yeah, and I also opened up my a Patreon page where people can support me and my work. And if they join for the Magic Mail Club, as I call it, I send them like little artworks every month, like exclusive artworks. And Doctor Strange one was actually a Halloween special I made where all my patrons requested characters they would like to see in Burton style. And so I made all of these characters that they requested, such as Doctor Strange in Burton style, and then send them the original sketches to their mailbox. So that was a fun little thing that we started this year.
Oh, that's really awesome. Now, for people that are listening, and you know they've heard me talk about your amazing Instagrams and the work that you've created and everything, but where can they find you out there on the world of the internet?
I mainly work on Instagram, so you can find me at DisLifeofAya, Dis like Disney of Aya. And also, as you said, Aya's Arts is my art page. So I try to post like little sketches, work in progress, and also updates on my Etsy shop in there. I also opened up a TikTok this year. After a long time of convincing me, I finally opened up a TikTok. So that's been fun to explore. So I've made like fun little videos in there. I actually shared like clips from my princess interactions from Disneyland, showing the princesses my Asian Disney princesses book. I vlogged the whole thing, but I uploaded like little clips of it on TikTok, and it's been fun to see like a whole new audience see that footage and see those interactions. I think my Tiana one was the one that went pretty viral. I think it has like 20,000 views right now. But it was just really sweet, and everyone was saying like, oh, like what a fun interaction, and it was really special to share those memories with everyone.
That's really awesome. And for everyone that's listening, the links are in the show notes or on the Facebook page or the website, so you can easily click at any time to go check out Aya and her work. And make sure that you hit the follow button and comment and like her stuff, because that's what I do. And share it so that way more people can find Aya and, again, find her work and be amazed just like I am.
Thank you.
But I want to say thank you for taking the time to hang out with me and talk not only like your fandom, but also like your personal history, which I now am going to like do research for a couple hours on, because I find it fascinating and want to know more.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, and thank you again for reaching out. I'm a pretty like introverted person, so I'm glad like I could share this story with you.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/talesfromthefandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.